Let me ask you something. Have you ever met someone who seems perfect at first, but deep down as time goes on, something just doesn't feel right or something feels off? And it leaves you wondering if God is trying to show you and tell you something, or if it's just you that's overthinking things? Well, first off, trust me, God doesn't leave us hanging when it comes to protecting us, especially our heart, our soul, and our spirit. So today I'll be breaking down 8 signs that God might be protecting you from a bad relationship or a relationship that just isn't his best for you, because he will also do that too. And by the end of this video, you'll know if it's time to step back from that relationship and trust God's plan. So let's get to it. Let me start off by saying this. I've experienced every single one of these signs in different relationships before I met my husband. And I'm so thankful that I was obedient to God's redirection, because I was engaged twice before my husband. And these signs continue to be present even after the engagements. When I met my husband, all of these signs were non existent. And here we are 8 years later in a beautiful and loving marriage. So let's talk about these signs. And the first one is your spirit isn't at ease, or you just have that gut feeling. Let's talk about that gut feeling. And you know exactly what I mean. Those little whispers, or that little thing that bothers you or keeps you up at night, making you think that something is just not right. If you're feeling uneasy from the beginning, or if doubts keep creeping in, that's often the Holy Spirit nudging you to pay attention. And you need to listen to those instincts, because God uses that sense of unease to get our attention when something is off, not just in relationships, but with anything. Don't ignore it, because that discomfort is often the first sign He's trying to protect you. And this isn't just a feeling you get after meeting or engaging with someone, it can also be before. And I'll give you an example. Before I met my husband, one of my family members attempted to connect me with someone they knew and thought was a really good guy. And to be honest, on paper, he really was a good guy. But for whatever reason, I just wasn't open to it or joyful about it. And I was in a season where I was actually actively dating. But long story short, we ended up at a family event together. And unexpectedly to me, he approached me and we talked briefly and exchanged numbers and went on to talk for about a week or two on the phone. And he ended up inviting me to a dinner at one of his family's home. So even though I felt uncomfortable, I took him up on the offer, and I shouldn't have, because, like I said, from the beginning, I was uncomfortable. And when I got there, I continued to be uncomfortable the whole time. And remind you, like I said before, he was a nice guy. He was nice looking. He was a man of faith, but I just wasn't feeling it. And I was in a stage in my life where I had promised myself that I wouldn't force myself into anything. So I quickly ended everything the next day. And fast forward about 2 years later, I heard that he had gotten married but divorced within a year. So I'm not sure what it was all about, but I definitely felt like God's objection was also his protection for me. So definitely pay attention to your spirit and that gut feeling that you may have, because it won't lie to you. Sign number 2 is he's not pursuing you. Now listen, if he's not pursuing you, that's a huge red flag. And I'm talking about before you meet him and after. A man who values you will make it clear that he wants to be with you. When God brings someone into your life, notice I said when God brings him into your life, he'll show it through that man's action. But if he's not making an effort, that could be a sign that he's not who God has for you and that he is just not into you. I know it hurts and it's painful, but you shouldn't have to question whether or not someone is interested or invested in you. And that's a big sign as well. The very fact that you're questioning someone's feelings about you or your place in their life is enough and needs no further investigation. Just simply make the decision for them. If they're inconsistent or not showing up, trust that God might be closing that door for a reason. The third sign is after hello, he starts to ghost you. Let's be real. Speaking from experience, ghosting is confusing and it's hurtful. I needed this to only happen to me once before I knew I was not having it again. If he's disappearing after a few conversations or seems to lose interest after initial hello, That's a sign that his intentions weren't genuine to begin with. And ladies, please listen and listen well. Do not give up anything to anyone upon initially meeting them. And I'm sure you know where I'm coming from with this. I'm pro waiting for marriage, but I know that isn't what everyone decides to do nowadays. But I'm here to tell you, if the man is for you, he will not mind or care about waiting for you. Even if your wait time is only 6 months or 9 months or whatever, he will tell you that he understands up front and will continue to show you he understands as time goes on. When someone isn't consistent, God could be showing you that this is a person who isn't reliable or serious. Ghosting is disrespectful, and you deserve someone who values your time and attention. So take it as protection, not rejection. Sign number 4 is he's breaking deal breakers early on. Okay, this one is big too. If you've got certain deal breakers such as cheating, being dishonest, lack of respect, or any form of abuse, and he's already crossing those lines, God is giving you a crystal clear signal to walk away. Godly love is built on trust, honesty, and respect. If he's breaking those core values while you're still dating him, it's only going to get worse later on. Don't compromise on your standards and the ones God have put in your heart. I can elaborate so much further on this, but I feel like I don't have to because these deal breakers should be deal breakers for everyone. Hence the importance of finding yourself and your identity first before you embark on any relationship. Sign number 5 is he's not financially stable. All right, let's be practical. Money is not everything, but financial stability is important, especially when it comes to building a future with someone. I say it's not everything because when my husband and I met, he made great money, but he lost his job 2 months into our relationship. But the blessing in that was I got to see how he handled tough life situations and he handled it very well. Obviously we're married, but if you meet or you are with a man who is struggling to take care of himself, it might not be the right time for a relationship for you and most definitely not for him. Personally, I feel like if you don't have your finances together, you should not be dating. Nothing is wrong with being in the process of getting yourself together. And no, it's not just about money, but it is about responsibility. God's ideal partner for you will be someone who's prepared to contribute to a stable and healthy relationship. If he's not there yet, that's a sign that the timing or maybe the person just isn't right for you right now. I know too many relationships that started off as struggle relationships and they are no longer together or they're still struggling to this day. The sixth sign is your family and friends have concerns. The people closest to you often see things that you don't see when we're caught up in the excitement of a new relationship. So, if family and friends who genuinely care about you express their concerns, don't brush them off. Sometimes God uses the people in our lives to speak wisdom to us. They also may see red flags that you may be overlooking. If several people are raising the same or similar concern, it's worth taking a step back and actually considering why. Sign number 7 is the relationship pulls you away from God and your purpose. A relationship that's from God will pull you closer to Him, not away. If being with this person distracts you from your faith or your purpose or even your daily peace, that's a serious warning. God's will for you is to be in a relationship that complements your walk with Him. If you're constantly compromising your values or neglecting your spiritual life, it might be time to reevaluate this situation. God will never send someone into your life to lead you away from Him. And be careful with this one because you may say to yourself,
well, no, he doesn't pull me away from my faith or my purpose.
But is it because He's not really interested or just doesn't have the time for you to be pulling you away? I've been in relationships where the guy didn't pull me away from God, but he also made sure I didn't pull him closer to God. So watch out for that too. And sign number 8 is you have a clear no from God. Ladies, if you've prayed about it and you're feeling a clear no from God, trust that answer. And we know when He's saying no. We may act like we're not sure, but The fact that you're confused is a red flag and a big sign that he probably said no, because God is not, and I repeat, not the author of confusion. It's easy to want to change God's mind or push for a different response, but when he closes a door, he knows why. Maybe it's not the right time, or maybe this person just isn't for you. Trust God's guidance, even when it doesn't match what you hope for and pray for. He has your best interests at heart and will protect you from relationships that could bring pain instead of joy. And you don't want that. I hope that this video was helpful for you. And if any of these signs resonate with you, take it as God's gentle reminder to trust His plan. I know it can be tough to walk away, especially when you see potential, but remember, God's protection is His love for you. He's saving you for something better or someone better who will honor you and cherish you just as God intended for Him to. If you're in a place where you need strength to step away, remember God's got you, because sometimes it may not even be that the person is a bad person, but just that there's more work to be done with him, or the timing just may not be now, or it simply could mean that God just has a better match for the both of you. Remember, God knows the end, so don't ignore His guidance and His protection. Let's keep growing together and trust in God's perfect timing. And also, let's subscribe to this channel if you haven't already to be a part of this growth. And if you want to know if you're even prepared to meet the one, check out this video here and stay blessed.